With The Matrix Resurrection soon to release, I thought it'd be a great time to re-examine one of my favorite films, the cyberpunk classic that started it all, 1999's The Matrix. Pretty much everything about this film has already been said. A phenomenon whose influence is still felt in cinema today, practically everyone who talks about movies has made something on The Matrix. And now, I will too. Today though, I want to examine one of the lesser discussed moments in the film to see how the anticipation, the mystery of the first act of the film, continues to build just before it is fully revealed. Today, I'm breaking down Neo's introduction to Morpheus.
At last.
But first, let's rewind a bit to give some context to this scene. So, throughout the first 25 minutes of the film, Neo has experienced weirder and weirder things, each of which has brought about some strange feelings, some disturbance in his reality. Whether it's running from the agents, the phone call from Morpheus, or his strange dreams, everything up to this point has established this world as off in some way that he can't quite explain. And it's that curiosity, that need to find answers, that draws him here, to Morpheus. Okay, so now we're back. In this short scene, Morpheus further raises the stakes, presenting Neo with even more mystery surrounding the Matrix before finally forcing him to choose between turning back or moving forward. Whatever he decides, he can't go back. Morpheus makes it clear that this is an irreversible choice.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back.
From the time Trinity leaves the room to when Morpheus and Neo do the same, there are 51 different shots lasting a total of 214 seconds, with the average shot being about 4.2 seconds. During this conversation, however, Morpheus is in control. He's leading the conversation, and this role is illustrated through his screen time. Of the 214 seconds, Morpheus is on screen for 145 of them, 67.8% of the time, despite only being in a little over 50% of the shots at 26 out of the 51, meaning his shots are 5.6 seconds on average. Neo, on the other hand, is little more than a viewer, also being drawn in by Morpheus, listening to his words as he tries to uncover the mystery of the Matrix, and this is also reflected in his screen time. While Morpheus is on screen for 145 of the 214 total seconds, Neo is only on screen for 94 seconds, just 43.9% of the time despite being in 27 shots, 2 more than Morpheus himself, meaning his shots are only about 3.5 seconds on average, compared to the roughly 5.6 seconds for the shots with Morpheus. Basically, Morpheus' role is reflected through his time on screen. The film focuses heavily on him during this short scene, even though he's just been introduced. Neo, despite being the main character, has become sidelined in favor of Morpheus, allowing him to further deepen the mystery surrounding the Matrix and enabling us to experience firsthand the reasons for the reverence characters have for him, especially Trinity.
He knows more than you can imagine.
Which allows us to more deeply understand her loyalty and desire to save him in the final act.
Let me tell you what I believe. I believe Morpheus means more to me than he does to you. I believe if you are really serious about saving him, you are going to need my help.
But screen time isn't the only thing worth noting here. At the beginning, Morpheus is framed from a low angle, with the camera distant from him, creating an air of mystery around Morpheus, but one that also draws us towards the power that he seems to have. When we cut to Neo though, he appears much less in control. The camera isn't looking up to him as much as it is Morpheus, and he's sitting down. We're more on his level, allowing us to place ourselves in his shoes. Throughout the story, the film wants us to re-examine our own lives much like Neo does, and this framing is just one example of the many ways it visualizes this idea. After asking Neo his opinion on fate, Morpheus moves closer and reveals a commonality between them.
Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No,
Why not?
because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
I know exactly what you mean.
Then, Morpheus sits down as well, presenting himself on an even level. He's trying to show that he's not superior to Neo, a central belief of his character. The film even cuts to a close-up of Morpheus and then to Neo as well, 2 shots where these characters each take up about the same amount of the frame, further illustrating that these two should be seen as equals, visualizing how Morpheus doesn't see himself as better than Neo.
It's an honor to meet you.
No. The honor is mine.
As the conversation continues, it cuts back and forth between the two, but maintains the same close angles on the characters. However, Morpheus then begins describing the Matrix even further, contextualizing it within that very space.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room.
Right after Morpheus says this, the film then cuts to a wide shot of both Neo and Morpheus, giving us a moment to once again re-examine the room with the new context of his words. It feels different in a way we can't explain. There is something here, something hidden that we're missing. It makes us wonder, what exactly is the Matrix? Neo then leans forward, questioning Morpheus, who then mimics Neo, leaning forward as well, making this more personal and adding weight to his words. It's like he's telling us a secret, some life-changing knowledge. Morpheus then leans back again and sighs, creating a feeling of resignation, making us uncertain as to how the rest of this conversation will proceed. It's like he's trying to muster the willpower to say or do something of grave importance, adding even more weight to this moment. Upon feeling this, Morpheus leans forward again after putting something in his hands. His movement feels more hostile now because we can't see what he's hiding. Neo reinforces this feeling with an anxious look. Morpheus then continues.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back.
Things have now gotten serious. He presents the pills and explains where each of them lead, doing so through close-ups to emphasize their importance and to clearly separate one pill from the other, further visualizing the irreversible choice Neo is about to make. At this point, we move even closer to Morpheus, adding even more weight to this moment. Now, the early parts of the scene start off with the camera pretty far from Morpheus and Neo, but as the scene progresses, the camera gets closer, culminating in an extreme close-up of Morpheus. As Neo makes his choice, the camera is right in front of Morpheus's face, giving us an extreme close-up of his glasses, even allowing us to clearly see Neo's reflection. This shot shows just how important this moment is for Morpheus, how highly he views Neo. He's taking up his entire view. He's all that he sees. Each reflection has a different pill as well, further visualizing the distinction between these two choices. Neo then swallows the pill, taking some water to do so, perhaps symbolizing the difficulty of the realization he'll soon experience. A hard pill to swallow, if you will. As he does this, Morpheus watches and then leads Neo to the next step, ending this short but important conversation. This scene does a great job of capitalizing on the mystery that came before, and even elevating it, somehow making us even more curious as to what the Matrix actually is. It's not particularly flashy, with a bunch of intense camera movements and transitions. It keeps things pretty simple, alternating between just a few angles and cutting in ways that causes the audience to re-examine and reconsider the elements of the environment, much like Neo himself. It places us into his shoes, using careful framing and blocking to visualize the dynamics in this scene, like showing Morpheus through a low angle to show his mystery and allure, or having him lean in towards Neo and the camera to create a secretive feeling of importance. This may not be the most interesting scene in the movie, but it certainly exemplifies what makes The Matrix so great, how even the little things can add so much to a film. Thanks for watching.
At last.